"There are times I wish I had only read it and never lived it," Sondra Locke once described of her tumultuous affair with Clint Eastwood. She was an aspiring director and a brilliant actress when a 13-year-long relationship with Eastwood shattered her life into pieces. How could this tragedy ever happen to Locke? In today's episode, we'll delve into the heartbreaking and dark love story that roared in Hollywood for more than a decade. Her affair with Eastwood started in 1975 and lasted for 13 years, slowly and steadily destroying Locke's life. It all sparkled as a passionate romance. She was an aspiring actress with ambitions to shoot and direct in Hollywood, and Eastwood was on the peak of his Hollywood fame. No doubt, he could seem like the right match for a charismatic young performer, right? Locke thought that Eastwood was the one and only. She had waited for this love to happen for so long. So, she fell in love.
Please don't make me sorry I told you. They make me afraid to believe you.
I never want to make you sorry.
When Sondra met Clint on the film set of The Outlaw Josie Wales in the 1970s, she was married to Gordon Anderson, a talented gay actor. She said that their relationship was nothing more than platonic and explained that they were like sister and brother. Locke and Anderson presumably married for tax purposes. Little did she know that their relationships would last throughout the entirety of Locke's life. What's more, Anderson closely followed the unfolding of Locke's romance with Eastwood. He sharply described his attitude towards his wife's lover. "Clint is a sociopath. I don't think there's another explanation for the way he treats everyone. He cares for no one. I know it's a hard thing to accept, but he's completely unevolved as a human being. He believes in nothing. He's a zero. I'm sorry to be so blunt, but that's it. He needs therapy." When Locke passed away after her prolonged struggle with breast and bone cancer in 2018, she still was legally and officially the wife of Anderson. But how did it happen that her fairy tale romance with Eastwood turned out to be a horror? Locke claimed that Eastwood coerced her to have 2 abortions while they dated. In her biography, The Good, the Bad, and the Very Ugly, A Hollywood Journey, she explained that Eastwood thought it would be impossible to balance raising children with their hectic lifestyles. He wouldn't like to compromise, and she yielded to his requests. But today, Eastwood's reluctance to have children from Locke seems like a manipulation. At least, he had a prolonged romance with another woman, exactly at the same time that he and Sondra were close. Eastwood became a father of 2, leaving Sondra bitter and overwhelmed with the news of his infidelity afterwards. She wrote in the book, "Clint complained of the IUD. It was uncomfortable for him. And he, too, was not in favor of birth control pills, so he suggested a special clinic at Cedars Hospital where they taught a natural method of birth control." Locke counted fertility days and had regular pregnancy checks to avoid unpredictable situations. She shared, "The whole process was awkward and entailed taking my temperature every morning and marking the calendar, etc. But the method proved itself wrong twice, forcing Locke to make a complicated decision under Eastwood's pressure. However, it wasn't the series of abortions that brought their relationship to an eventual end. Actually, Sondra wanted to claim her professional independence and break free from Eastwood's charismatic influence. "I understood that it would be at the risk of our relationship, and when I did, that was the beginning of the end," the actress said to the Post, describing the time when she was at odds with Eastwood.
Are you finished with your little speech?
Yeah, I'm finished.
I do not work for you, and if you ever raise your voice to me again, I will scratch out your eyes!
He evidently thought that Sondra should remain in his shadow. But at that period, Locke eventually managed to direct 2 films, Rat Boy in 1986 and Impulse in 1990. It was the time when she wanted to take her chance in Hollywood. But we're wondering whether it was possible in an industry dominated by men. At the end of the 1980s, their romance was on the verge of collapse. One evening, Sondra came to the home she shared with Eastwood for more than 10 years to find the door's locks had been changed and her clothes boxed up. Locke filed a palimony lawsuit against one of the biggest Hollywood stars. In his depositions, Eastwood described Locke as an occasional roommate for 10 years.
I never told you that I loved you.
Sondra waged war against the man that she used to think was the love of her life. The couple eventually settled the suit, and Locke concluded a $1.5 million deal with Warner Brothers. It was supposed to be the time for her to become an independent director, but things turned out differently. As years went by, Sondra couldn't sign the contract with the Warner Brothers company. For 3 years, she repeatedly suggested ideas for dozens of films of professional aspirations, but she got rejected over and over again. Sondra risked everything and filed the second lawsuit against Eastwood. This time, Locke accused him of fraud as the deal with the studio didn't work and he could potentially stall her progress in filming. Sondra believed her ex put up roadblocks to prevent her from becoming a self-reliant director. In the 1990s, she filed a second lawsuit against Eastwood, accusing him of fraud. The court settled the case, and Locke received an undisclosed sum of compensation. Locke shared her message that people cannot get away with whatever they want to just because they're powerful. But the scandalous breakup with Eastwood took its toll on the actress's reputation, leaving Locke with no real opportunities to return to Hollywood. Although she won the lawsuit battles, Sondra lost the war for her career. Years after the scandal, Locke shared her opinion on everything that happened. People can say, he made her famous, he gave her movies. He didn't give me movies. I did a job, she said. He didn't make me famous. It was never my fame, it was his fame. I was Clint's girl. I only stood to lose professionally. Years afterwards, she revealed her life struggles in the memoir. Sondra once said, I will try to cover the good years as well as the bad and the ugly. Also, in even the worst ugly things, there can sometimes be a lot that will make you a better person. Chasing the Hollywood dream brought bitterness and pain into Locke's life, and it also greatly deteriorated the actress's health. While suing Eastwood and trying to save her career, Sondra was diagnosed with breast cancer. It came as a bolt out of the blue and became another tragedy that made her battle health issues for years. Locke had a double mastectomy and chemotherapy, but her heart couldn't stand the challenge. The actress passed away in 2018, leaving behind a controversial story of hardship and triumph. Would it have been better if Locke had never dated Eastwood? Perhaps. A relationship with an influential actor could help an aspiring director climb the career ladder and gain precious experience. But the sweet romance turned into a messy, decade-long scandal. Locke's story showed that even the biggest Hollywood actors could face the consequences of their misdeeds. She proved her case and showed everyone the day-to-day struggles women face in the industry. It was the first sign of massive change in perception of women in acting and directing. Maybe that's why we should remember Locke for her persistent courage to fight against injustice.